Meantime, Laura, I know that you've been talking to folks who've been tracking Nikki Haley voters. That's, of course, a coveted block for both the Biden and Trump campaigns. How have those voters been responding to all of this?
I've sat in on a lot of focus groups over the last few days, Jeff, and those Haley voters, moderate Republican voters, and swing voters say that the assassination attempt on Donald Trump has not swayed them. But they also say that they're not necessarily certain about voting for President Biden. And I spoke to Craig Snyder, a Republican Pennsylvania political operative who is the director of Haley Voters for Biden PAC. And he said that Haley's endorsement of Trump is not swaying the voters he's talking to, and that the Haley voters that he's working to mobilize are open to Democrats other than Joe Biden.
They would be willing, certainly, to consider another Democrat. But it would depend on who the individual turns out to be. Really, for these voters, they are looking for someone in the center, number one. Number two, they're looking for someone who they see as a stabilizing force, a non-chaotic force. Number three, they're looking for somebody who they see as decent and civil.
Craig Snyder also said, though, that if President Biden is ultimately the nominee, that he would continue to work to try to make sure that these moderate voters vote for him.
Laura, what about the selection of J.D. Vance as Mr. Trump's running mate? Has that changed anything for these voters?
It doesn't seem to have, Amna. I spoke to Emily Matthews, who runs a working group of 25 Haley voters across the country in key battleground states. The Biden campaign has actually met with this group of Haley voters, and she told us that voters in her group don't trust J.D. Vance.
They see him as an opportunist who used to be a never-Trumper, like many of them, who ended up bowing down to, the Trump altar in the pursuit of power, and they see right through it.
She said that her group is concerned with President Biden staying in the race and losing to Trump, and that ultimately she's also worried that this could hurt President Biden's legacy.
Have those voters, Laura, been receptive to alternatives to President Biden at the top of the Democratic ticket?
They have, Jeff. Emily Matthews says that her group of Haley voters has been receptive to talk of Vice President Kamala Harris taking over the top of the ticket. And I also sat in on a number of focus groups this week that were run by Republican never-Trumper Sarah Longwell's firm. And in a focus group of two-time Trump voters, Brad, who's a Georgia voter, said that he thinks Vice President Harris could beat Trump.
I just think it's a fresh face. It's just someone different. And for those who really don't like Biden, I think they could coalesce a little bit more around Harris over Biden. And I think that might even sway a few Republicans over. They may absolutely detest Biden, but they may be willing to swallow their pride a little bit with Harris versus Trump. Definitely not saying it's a good option, but for some people, it may be the lesser of two evils.
Again, Brad there was a two-time Trump voter in the swing state of Georgia saying that about Vice President Harris. None of these two-time Trump voters in that focus group said that they would vote for Trump this time around. And it sounded as though they might be willing to move towards Democrats if Democrats ultimately shook up the ticket. And they appeared more likely to do that if on that ticket Democrats included Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro or North Carolina Governor Cooper.
All right, Laura Barone Lopez, thanks as always for that reporting. We appreciate it.
Thank you.